Let's see. Did everybody? I thought I just admitted them, but
You did. There may
okay.
be
Oh,
some more that
I did
straggle
that.
in.
I'm sorry. Was I not supposed to?
It's
Oh
cool.
no.
If you
Yeah, I
wouldn't
think
mind,
anybody can
Salita,
admit.
Salita, if you wouldn't mind, just keep an eye on that lobby, and as people request to
Yeah.
join, Salita, if you would just let them in, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I know that we've got a packed agenda today, and there's a number of things that that we're excited to show all of the participants today. This morning, I received a host of information from the Charles Lee Center in regards to their protocol and their processes. So Sandra will be joining us here very shortly, and she will be presenting all of that information. I've got a few updates on my end that I want to go ahead and share with the network before Sandra gets here. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen so we can go ahead and jump right into it, trying to save as much time as possible for Sandra when she joins here. So give me a second. I'll pull up my screen. Salita, you're responsible for the lobby. If you see him come in, please go ahead and admit, okay?
Yep.
Okay, right now my screen should be up, and essentially, welcome to this month's episode of the Provider Information Session. We are nearing the timeline by which we are about to launch the program, and I already see my first mistake. I left the date from last month on there. Bear with me; it's been a long week. But as far as the procedures today, short housekeeping. We again every Friday we do have a hard stop at 11. So as soon as we get through all the agenda, we will have to progress into that next meeting. The updates from DIDD are going to be rather limited today. Again, we're trying to reserve the majority of the time for Sandra, and so she can present the majority of the processes and tools that she's established. And then we'll obviously adjourn. Just a reminder, guys, we are literally within 2 business days of launching this program, and as we are experiencing at every turn, there's going to be opportunities for improvement. There's going to be things that actually fall through the cracks. There's going to be, needs to revise the processes that we've established right now. And on one hand, that's a little bit anxiety ridden. It's on the other end, it's very exciting because we do have the continued ability to build something that's so unique and so different. And I'm just really excited to continue to work with this entire group to build something that's never been provided here in the state of Tennessee. So just know that. I mean, the entire culture of this program recognizes that this is a pilot program that we're developing, that we're recognizing there's going to be those mistakes, and that as you experience those situations, we look forward to those conversations so that we can continue to update and improve our processes. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into some of our updates that we have at this point. I want to start with actual peer mentoring. I know this continues to be addressed in these sessions, and please know at this point, the peer mentoring service will continue to be pursued as a service within the MAPS program. We've identified through evaluations from other states' implementations of peer mentoring that major barriers for the delivery of peer mentoring services surround how those peer mentors are prepared to deliver those services. In essence, formal training requirements are lacking some significant curriculum topics that will help prepare those peer mentors to deliver the best service. As a result, it is our approach that we're going to contract with an entity who is developed and are interested in revising their curriculum to ensure that those peer mentors are receiving the necessary training that we have identified as barriers within other states. So that will be essentially the phase 1 of the approach. We're targeting some entities within the state that have developed curriculum. We want to work with them to revise that curriculum so that once that curriculum is revised, we can jump into phase 2 of the process where we actually identify a vendor who's formally going to deliver those peer mentoring services using the training curriculum that we have contracted with those organizations. So that's the approach. I would envision that it'll probably take us the better part of a year to get to that point. Once the training curriculum is revised, ready for dissemination, once we've identified that vendor who's going to deliver the service and ensure that those peer mentors have formally completed that curriculum training. So that's the update on peer mentoring. The good news is it's at this point, it's still not going to impact that individual's $20,000 annual budget, which we're really excited about. There continues to be a lot of investment and trust in the creation and development of this project. So, it's all up to us to continue to ensure that we're launching it in a manner and providing the services in a manner that's going to warrant that continued evaluation from our decision makers. Launch, we're 2 days away. That application is going to go live on Tuesday, probably at like 7 a.m. So we are going to be receiving formal applications for enrollment into the MAPS program on Tuesday, in which we will begin that eligibility determination process. I'm glad to report that we have been able to identify a direct coordinator at our intake department that is going to be the single source of the persons that are reviewing and determining the eligibility on all of these applicants. Dennis Watson, who's on this call, has done some amazing work with ensuring that we've got automated responses going to everyone that submits an application, even if they're not in the targeted region that we're beginning with. So collaborative efforts between Charles Lee, our intake department, we feel like we're continuing to identify some potential ways to make that process the most effective, and we're going to continue to evaluate those processes through enrollment to make sure that we've ironed out everything that we've identified. What you'll see here is just a general expectation of what we hope to achieve within the first 4 to 5 months of enrollment into the program. You'll see numbers in the span of all of it starts within Middle Tennessee, hoping to identify 15 individuals during the month of November, and then recognizing we're getting into the holiday season around December, so we would greatly reduce the anticipated numbers that we would enroll and refer to the Charles Lee from 15 to 5 between the months of November and December. Obviously, we'll bounce back from the holidays in January and February, progressing to 10 folks each month. And then as we get into March, we're enrolling into East Tennessee. And so we're going to monitor these numbers to see how we're hitting those targets. But you'll see that at this point, we're starting off on a rolling momentum start with our enrollment processes as well. And all of this is necessary so Sandra and her team can continue to assure that they have the proper supports to be able to accommodate the capacity that we're expecting. Also working with our provider network. So as they're making referrals to determine how provider organizations are accepting these referrals, they'll be providing the feedback to DIDD if our provider network is also experiencing the necessary capacity to accommodate these referrals. If not, we'll continue to work on our end to ensure that we're putting pieces in place to accommodate that capacity. There's a couple of tools that I want to draw reference to. They're going to be important to the entire network because next month it's possible you guys could submit your first billing of the MAPS program. As you accept a person into your program, you all realize that that first payment is that provider incentive payment that is eligible when you acknowledge acceptance of a MAPS participant. In that case, there are 2 documents that you will need, both of which are going to be loaded onto our website. The first is the formal MAPS invoice tool. This invoice tool directly is a standard tool that we've developed that will be used for all of the actual intake, all of the invoice processing submissions. And basically, it's essentially just a sample invoice that will be, you can go onto our website, download it, and in a PDF form, you'll be able to specify what milestone or incentive you are billing for and the person ID from which it's accessible to. So this invoice is pretty straightforward. I don't think we need to spend an entirely lot of time on it, but it'll be accessible on our website. The second one is the actual service validation form in and of itself. This tool is going to be that communication tool between the provider agency and Charles Lee. Essentially, the first thing when you accept that actual participant into your program and you're ready to bill a service, this service validation form will be what you use to communicate to Charles Lee that you are able to bill for that particular service. You will essentially complete the top portion. You'll see there's an ID that's been identified, and essentially that's the first 3 letters of their first name, last 3 letters of their last name, and the last 4 of their social security, and that will be the person's ID that's associated with the MAPS participant through the lifespan of the program. You will begin submitting your provider information, who the assigned innovation coordinator is, and again, this in the PDF version, you will be able to select the service and the milestone that you are billing for, or at least you are sending to Charles Lee to acknowledge that this is a billable service. Obviously, remember, it's Charles Lee who's managing that individual's budget. So they need to acknowledge from the individual budget that that service is eligible to be billed. So you'll complete the service validation form, send it on to the corresponding innovation coordinator. They will review it, approve or deny it, and send this back to you. Once you get that back, you will take that and join it to the actual MAPS invoice form that I showed you. And then at that point, you're ready to submit that billing document to DIDD invoicing as we described in the past. So you may be in the position next month to be able to do so. These tools will be available. I'm going to be readily available to answer any questions you may have. And certainly we may see some things in the utilization of these tools that we can create and tweak along the way. So again, please know that through the implementation of these processes, we intend to solicit the feedback from the organization to see if there's anything that we need to improve on. At this point, those are the major updates that I have. Again, the major portion of today is to turn it over to Charles Lee so that they can provide exactly the best point of their update on where they are. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen from Sandra's presentation and turn it over to Sandra.
Thank you so much, Jay. Good morning, everybody. So excited to be able to share some updates and forms, long-awaited forms to support our protocol. That's really going to help us be able to get the members from when they're determined eligible into your hands. Well, I'm going to really try to communicate the Charles Lee Center Tennessee person-supported transition protocol, okay? Just the fundamentals. And Jay set a really nice tone that I'm just going to have to echo even throughout this presentation. It's really going to be helpful to our team as we just kind of go through and really keep in mind with everybody in the network. You know, as we go through this and as we start getting ready to pilot, any questions that you have, any thoughts, I am so here for it. Our team is so here for that, okay? So let's just kind of go on through. All right, just to set the tone, guys, so we can know what we're going to cover, and I can always have that roadmap to get me back on target because I can veer off a little bit. But we're definitely going to go over the overview of the MAPS goals again, just so we can all be in the same place. What is the person-supported transition protocol? That is huge. That is why we're here. That is what's going to get a referral in your hands. We're going to talk about the 4 phases because it does consist of 4 phases. Phase 1, I'm going to cover the description and the forms that support it. The phase 2, the description and forms that support it, as well as phase 3, phase 4, and I'm definitely going to try to leave room for QA. All right, just an overview again. Let me frame where we are. All right, so MAPS goal again, we are attempting, and I feel very good about it. I know we can do it as a team. Assist 1,250 transition age youth across 3 years to acquire access to support services to help them navigate their communities and help set them on the path of success for independent living. That is what we are here to do, and I just feel really great about our pilot launch that's going to take place to be able to help us reach that goal starting next week. Again, the state determining eligibility, all questions, concerns about the entry point, that is on the DIDD website. But again, I want to get us to where we need to be. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on slides, but just set the tone because we really want to look at how we're going to offer the coordinated services, okay, within our program. All right, addressing the problem that we're kind of noticing when we're looking at effectively coordinating services. The overall picture is inaccessible or delayed services. That's what we're facing. And so we really want to come up with an approach to address the invisible accountability, insufficient communication, and impersonal encounters. That's what our team has really designed our protocol to do, to really build on, again, that person-centered approach throughout, have a tracking mechanism that not only allows Charles Lee Center to know what's going on, but it allows the person supported and their circle of support to know what's going on throughout the process, as well as the provider network. You guys, as you're getting ready to prepare for billing or invoicing and, you know, getting your outcome payments, you'll know right alongside us what's being accomplished. Okay, so that's the whole purpose of this protocol is, you know, we're walking side by side and you'll know as well. Okay. Our approach the inaccessible or delayed access to services is through our person-supported transition protocol. Okay, we're really looking at leading that person-centered mapping process. That is our goal, to be able to do that with intent, relationship building, having the tools to be able to take a person supported from the determined eligibility, have those conversations and build that program, that plan out. Step-by-step guidance, that is virtual, that is in person, that is even on phone for our person supported and our provider network. Again, I have to keep stressing, I feel we are the great liaisons in this whole scheme of things, where we're offering that support on both ends. So you guys, as a network, will feel very confident and supported with the process and know what's going on along the way. Leading these comprehensive assessments, and like I said, you'll notice in the upcoming slides what these forms will look like now and what we're capturing on the front end. We have developed tools that will allow us to be able to track the accessibility, our participants able to complete the forms, where the support is needed, and we feel really good about it, which it will be accomplished in under 90 days. When I say coordinating the services from person support determined eligible into a referral in our providers' hands, we feel very confident that our protocol will be able to get that completed in under 90 days. We're going to test that out. All right. Our 4-phase process, this is designed to equip innovation coordinators and providers with tools to confidently execute and track services that help the person supported skillfully navigate their community. So just an overview of the 4 phases again, and they're going to light up right down here. Got some little action things in there, Jay. I should have warned you. The comprehensive assessment, that is our first phase. The service provider referral, that is our second phase. The collaborative support planning, that is the third phase. And the sustainability check-in, that is where we end in this particular protocol. All right, and Jay, I will ask, as I get ready to present some of these forms, that they can just be dropped into the chat. And I will say this, everybody, there's quite a bit of information in these slides. I get it. But that is the whole point of having the forms that will be in the chat, so you'll be able to look over them, review them, and the conversation does not stop with today's presentation. This is Charles Lee Center's attempt to be able to give you guys an overview of what's being captured, what the person supported mapping process looked like on the end, at the very beginning, and really help paint a picture of when you receive a referral, the information that's taken from the back end of it as well. So I'm going to start with the first phase, which is the comprehensive assessment, and it is designed for our team to truly get to know the person supported. Okay. And I have some steps listed here that's really going to help us get through that protocol. As I mentioned at the very beginning, it is our goal to have any person supported who's determined eligible to go through coordinated services in under 90 days. So we have built in some time frames, some timelines. So our team is preparing for training to actually go through this and be effective in doing it. First step, state director assigns persons to an innovative coordinator within 3 business days of receiving them in our team's platform once they're referred from the state. Okay. Our innovation coordinators will make the initial contact with persons both by email and call to introduce themselves and offer TA with completing the intake assessment form. All right. And there's going to be a visual of that. Jay's going to put it in the next slide. The third step, we're going to do a follow-up call 3 business days after initial call to set up a face-to-face meeting with the person supported and their circle of support. So again, the main takeaway from this third step, I will say, we're not just sending the person-centered support plan to the participants within the program, but we're ensuring that it's accessible, they are able to receive it, and then we're offering support to ensure that they can complete it without a problem. Okay. So 4th step, we're going to meet with the person supported, his, her, their parent, guardian, and requested circle support in the community where they decide they want to meet at. And the 5th step, this information will, from the PCSP, which is the person-centered support plan assessment, will be transferred to the provider referral snapshot. Forgive me, guys, my voice is giving out. I feel like I've been talking all day, all week. All righty. And the way this PowerPoint is set up is going to go through just kind of the same format, because I want to give a description of what is taking place in the phase, and then really hone in on what is being captured from that form, so you will know. And then, like I said, Jay, he's going to put that information in the chat, the actual form, so you can pull it up and look at it. But the purpose of the person-centered support plan is most definitely to capture the person's personal information and their goals. What are they looking to accomplish while in the MAPS program? Is not listed, but there are several things that's going to be taking place in this phase as well. And I definitely want to try to cover it. Is we're also I'm sorry, assessing for cell phone needs. If the participant needs a cell phone, we're going to do an enabling tech screening. We're going to introduce the virtual resource community map to the participants, giving them a sense of awareness of what's going to take place, being that that is the roadmap, that is the vehicle that's going to really allow them to reach those outcomes through that particular service. So we want to use that opportunity also to introduce that to participants in this particular phase. This document is completed by the person supported, and then it is reviewed by the innovation coordinator and the person supported with their circle support. And then the timeline for this is that our team will receive the completed form within 5 business days after the initial contact. We will have the person-centered service plan completed and ready to go after that 5-day. All right, touch point. We're going to set the frame. Once we receive that person-centered support plan, this is where Charles Lee Center touch our provider network. And something I failed to mention in that one-on-one meeting on the previous slide, so please forgive me, guys, is there are several things taking place in that particular meeting. One thing I did leave out that's super duper important, we're also creating an awareness with our person-supported on service providers, the service providers that aligns with their goals and allowing them to have that voice and selection in who they would like to carry out their services. So forgive me, I should have definitely brought that up in the previous slide. So with that being said, in this particular phase, now we're looking as a team, as the innovation coordinated services team, to make the right fit. We really want to hone in and look at the service providers that's going to be able to offer the services to our person supported. So first step, IC provides 3 providers the completed provider referral snapshot. So this referral snapshot will not go out to one person. We're trying to reduce potential delays, the possibility of a provider may not wanting to accept, and we don't want to start the entire process over. Okay, so we really want to make sure we put this in the hands of 3 providers, and then follow up accordingly. We have steps and protocols that we'll be following in regards to how we'll be able to make that communication to providers. The second step, IC will send providers a provider service statement worksheet, and I'm gonna go over that in the next slide, okay? So you can have a really good idea of what that is. The third step is providers have up to 7 business days to accept or deny providing services. And this is giving way to the internal meeting, the planning, the discussions on the referral that was provided, as well as the capacity of your teams and your staff to be able to accept the referral and offer those services according to our person supported goal. Okay. Fourth step, IC will contact persons 14 business days within phase 2 just to check in. Again, I'm sure we know how it is when we have coordinated services program and, an individual has been referred, they've done eligibility, they've done intake, and it's like, what is going on behind the scenes? So definitely wanted to ensure to put in a check-in communication from our team to any participants at this point, so they know what is taking place and what is going on. We're connecting with providers and looking to get the referral in the hands of those providers. Okay. And number 5, the 5th step for this, it says IC will schedule a meeting with the provider, person supported, and his or her, their parent, guardian, and their circle support. Okay. This is the visual on the side is a very vague visual of what it is. It's just to help me pull out what's on there. But it is really a snapshot of the person-centered support plan. It really pulls the information from it, and it paints a picture of who this individual is. And as providers, this is what you'll be receiving from an innovation coordinator. Okay. And the purpose of it again is to provide service providers with essential person information and to determine if services can be provided. This is your tool. This is your uh, overview, your snapshot to be able to meet on, process, plan, and decide if this is an individual that you will be offering services to based on their goals. Okay. It is completed by, this referral snapshot is completed by our innovation coordinator. It is reviewed by you, the provider agency. You are the ones who will be reviewing it. And then the timeline for this provider, again, has up to 7 business days to respond back to IC with a decision to accept or deny referral. I will state this as well. Any referral that is sent or provided to you, it requires a response back if it's accepted or denied. So that way we will have record, we will have notification of what took place with that referral. So any referral you receive, it will be required to have that response back. All right, so we're going to continue to make the right fit. And I will put the disclaimer out there on our provider service statement worksheet. It could look intimidating. It could view as, is Charles Lee Center, Tennessee expecting us to learn their program, know their program, step by step along the way? Of course not. We know you guys are running tremendous programs. You know, we know in this world of work, we're wearing several hats, but it definitely sets a tone and sets a framework for our team, that our organizational goals are noticed, that they are acknowledged, and that we are aligning. We're aligning your services with our goals, so our person supporting this program, you know, successfully has a strong foundation throughout. So again, Jay, can we pull up this form? This was important, but I want to go over the purpose of it. But the purpose of this form is to capture the provider's service statement on how services will be provided. It will be completed by the provider agency. You will have this as a tool to support you. As I said, you will receive the referral snapshot and you will receive this PSS worksheet, okay? And again, this is a guide and a tool to help your team really plan out action steps. This is not for you to feel as though you're reinventing or designing a program. We know, you know, our service providers in this program are top notch, second to none. This is for you to help us better understand and align what you're offering to the participant with their goals. It's just spelling it out for us so we know. Okay. So Jay, can we pull it up just a little bit, dear heart? Perfect. And I'm just going to go over it. This is something I feel like we want to spend a little time here. The provider service statement, this PSS worksheet, again, providers are required to demonstrate which Charles Lee Center Tennessee's organization performance goals are addressed through the services they provide the persons, okay? And I know in our meeting last month, I gave a really broad overview of our 4 organization goals, but this is the way that I really feel like it will help us stay aligned as a program and help us stay true to the goals that we have aligned as a program. Okay, so this worksheet is a tool to assist you as providers in developing a service statement that meets the person's articulated goals and displays the services alignment with our OPGs. Okay, all provider service statements must utilize SMART guideline specific, measurable, attainable, achievable, realistic, time specific goals. And I'm sure many of us know what SMART goals are. This is not us reinventing the wheel. It's just really putting a plan in place. And as a team, you all have an understanding of how service is going to be carried out along the way, and our team does as well. And again, our person supported will know on the forefront before we meet together. Okay, so Jay, do you mind scrolling down just a piece? So I'm just going to go over the 4 OPGs, guys. And again, the forms will be provided to you we will also have opportunities to discuss and talk beyond this presentation today, because again, I really wanted to put this in your hands at this point. Now that it's framed out a whole lot better, so you can just really just embody and know where we're coming from, okay? So number one is the impact on persons' self-efficacy. We're always looking for that, all right? Number two, facilitation of person-generated goals. Number three, enabling technology. And four, of course, this is a phase out program. So we're looking for sustainability phase out planning in whatever services you're offering to person supported. So how it's done, the way it's done, that is the beauty of this amazing program. You guys have the autonomy, the ability to create and design and put a plan in place with our person supported, but it truly is to set that tone and foundation on how it'll be carried out. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll down. Jay, please, and thank you. Because this is the bottom half of this form. Like I said, once you get a referral, this document comes with you. So that way you can just kind of map out what does that look like. You're gonna, of course, it has, there we go. You scroll them down some more, Jay. Scroll up just a little bit, please. Up. There we go. It helps our team understands when a referral is accepted. We want to know, the collaborative support meeting availability. I'm on this third line at the top, guys. Some times that you guys would potentially be able to meet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Having an idea of specific times of the day. That way, when we are ready to plan a collaborative meeting with our person supported and their circle support, it makes it that much easier if we can present this information and really set up framework when we're trying to schedule this meeting, okay? Because we're looking at scheduling conflicts, work schedules with persons. So we really want to be able to etch out and paint a time frame that will not conflict with you at all, with you all either. So that's what I'm trying to say. So that's we really want to capture that information in this document. Next thing on here is goal identified, articulated by person supported. Of course, at this point, you know what the goal is because through the person-centered support plan and the referral snapshot, it details what the person supported is looking to accomplish. So it will be on here as well. And then you just kind of go down to service statements. And basically, spoiler alert, the service statements are just the ways, opportunities, avenues you can be able to carve out to offer services to members. It's the service definitions. This is basically what it is. And I really feel like this tool is going to help and provide that training with our team as well as provider network to continue to embody, to learn as we're going along this process. What is the service definitions? How can we do this? And you're not limited to what's in here, okay? These are just some different options. And again, you guys already offer amazing programs. And I can almost guarantee you they align in some format, but that is for you and your organization, your agency to decide and figure out how you're going to carry that out. Okay. Scroll on down. Thank you so much, Jay. Something I definitely want to speak to on here because I put an example in here, and whenever you get the original PSS, it's going to include this one. Forgive me, Jay. I'm a horrible facilitator when I'm not guiding the forms. Do you mind going back up just a piece so I can point out something in the first column under the community navigator? Thank you, Jay. The community navigator service description. That's where it has the VCRM, the virtual resource community map. It is required, okay? That again, that is the vehicle that we're going to use. We're going to introduce the VCRM to our person supported in the first phase to create that awareness for them. So it will not be a shock. It will not be something that they're like, what in the world are we doing? That's not a goal of mine. It's not a goal. And we're not even going to introduce it as being a goal. We're going to introduce it as this is the car, the vehicle you're going to use to monitor, to be able to travel through and accomplish your milestones, okay? So this one is already on here, all right? And I just provided an example. It does not have to remain this way. Let's scroll down, Jay, as to how you would look at completing your provider service statement. Come on down just a little bit more. All right, right here, where it says provider service statement. One, provider will develop a VCRM with person supported utilizing information obtained from provider referral snapshot. Okay, and I know the network is currently completing the VCRM training. Our team is underway completing our training as well. So I do know this would be a great opportunity where we continue to train. We support one another in this process. But again, our primary goal for setting this up in the first phase, allowing this to be the first outcome, the second outcome payment, forgive me, because as Jay mentioned, the first one is when you accept. But the second milestone outcome that we're looking to see come in our hands or through our coordinators is the VCRM establishment. That is something that we're looking to see happen because, again, we want to create those base maps. We want our participants to be able to have a sense of their community, you know, on the front end, okay? Because that is what's going to help them navigate through. The example down here at the bottom where it says provider will meet with Johnny and his collaborative support team twice a month for 3 months, Mondays at 4 p.m. That is how you decide as a team how that will be carried out and what that will look like, okay? And I'm going to open the floor for questions right here. I will have to because I know there's a lot of information. Let me open up the floor for questions right here. Thoughts, questions, concerns? No way. Yes. Just teasing. All right. And I do know it's a lot of information to absorb initially. Okay. I will scroll down, Jay, to the very bottom half of this, and it's just helping our team again to be able to connect our OPGs with what you're doing as far as your services. Again, this document is one document that you will be completing for us just for accountabilities purposes, for accountabilities and tracking purposes. Okay. All right. If there's no questions on the PSS, thank you so much, Jay. I'm gonna keep tugging along. And again, allow you guys time to absorb it because I know this is long awaited information. So I know there's gonna take um, time to review it. I see some questions in the box, so let's see what we got here. Great question. Are there completed examples of all these sheets? They are being completed as we speak. Okay, so as of this afternoon, there will be examples. Another tool that Charles Lee Center is creating right now is the e-learning training that is very engaging, hands-on. When I say it is step by step on how to complete, how to get it done, that is underway. And that particular training will be loaded up into Reliance as well. And it takes you through each form, okay, step by step. And we'll receive these documents to review on paper. Jay is actually going to send out the paper documents more than likely after this meeting. All right. Oh, yep, Shannon, they are included in the chat, but I'll also send them out with the PowerPoint recording sent out. Thank you so much, Jay. Let me keep it moving. Let me leave the chat alone and just keep it moving. All right, so that is the provider service statement worksheet. All right, now we're moving on along to the third phase, all right? And this phase is considered our collaborative support planning meeting. And you'll notice in phase one, this is where we are very intentional about learning the person supported, their circle support, their strengths, introducing them to the concept of the MAPS program, coordinated services, really learning who they are. Phase two is where we're providing that same information now to our provider network. We want you to have an idea of our members' strengths, what their goals are, the avenue, the goals they're willing to accomplish and wanting to accomplish inside of phase two. Now, three, guess what? This is where we all come together. Okay. So step one, innovation coordinator coordinates and schedules a collaborative support planning meeting within 21 calendar days of receiving the accepted provider referral snapshot and the completed PSS. Okay, so we're looking at 21 days to be able to schedule that particular meeting with both parties. And we have an idea from the PSS on what days, certain times, and now we're really looking to allow our person supported to speak to that and what time and day works best for them. Okay. Number two, person supported parent or guardian and support network. IC and provider agency are required to meet and develop a collaborative transition support plan. This is a requirement for provider agencies, and I'm sure this is not a shocker or a spoiler alert, but it's, again, we're coming together to put a plan in place. This is going to be the roadmap for the milestone outcomes. Okay. So we have to bring all of the minds together. And that PSS that was created, that comes to the table as well. That's coming to the discussion. Okay. Step 3, provider agency is responsible for sharing how services offered aligns with the person's supported goal, because it's not concrete, it's not in stone. That is a brainstorm with your team. That is for you to align the services you already are doing an amazing job with in your agencies, but it's now aligning it and bring it to this conversation with the person supported and their circle support to be able to tailor those services and see if it works for them. Let's etch out some days. Let's etch out some times. Let's look at this person's strengths. Let's look at their circle support, what they bring to the table. Let's really have a conversation and facilitate a plan and put a plan in place that will not only support our person supported, but it'll also support our provider agency throughout this process. And I'm actually on step 4. This is where the IC will facilitate the meeting and document the transition plan. Okay. And that's it for the collaborative support meeting. While I'm waiting for the slide to change. Teamwork makes the dream work. Just playing. All right, and this is, like I said, an overview of the visual. The purpose, again, is to develop a transition plan for our person supported. Everybody has to have this. Of course, again, this is the tool, this is the guide, this is what we're utilizing. Majority of this information we will even see in the VCRM. All of this information is going to be at some point, you know, adapted. Our person support is going to know how to utilize and continue to build on their base map just from this plan. That is the ultimate goal on how we're going to be able to carry this out. All right. And then not only that, the purpose of this, it will establish the milestone outcome start date. Once this plan is in place, this truly will put the start date on when milestone outcomes start. Okay. This document is completed by the innovation coordinators, reviewed by the person supported, parent, guardian, their circle support, and the provider agency. This is a collective document. Everybody will receive that copy, and it is intended for all the information to be gathered and put in one place around this space. And the timeline, here we go. The developed CTSP, which is the Collaborative Transition Support Plan, will be completed within 3 months of a person supported being eligible in the program. So this particular document, like I said, it dates the start of milestone tracking, and it is intended with trial and error. And as we get ready to pilot, it's intended to be completed within 3 months. Okay. And the last phase, you guys are so patient. Going through this 4th phase here is the sustainability check-in. And this is where we are implementing the monitoring of the plan and seeing how things are going. There is a provider agency check-in form, and the provider agency will check in with IC monthly to report the progress of milestones and outcomes achieved. The second part of this is ICs will support and offer TA to provider agencies monthly, as well as ICs will check in with person supported monthly to monitor the progression of milestones and outcomes achieved. Okay, so this is our communication throughout the month. This is our way that we're continuing to partner. This is our way to support you guys as providers, as milestones are being completed. If there's a barrier, if there's a challenge, or there's a delay, and also help support with questions, again, because we're setting our team up now with our milestone tracking protocol. We're in the development stages of that and putting the tracking tools in place. But again, this particular document is that accountability piece that really allows our provider agencies to know what's going on along the way. It won't be shocker alert, like what's going on. You know what's going on as well as we know what's going on. So we are anticipating invoices. We see what you see. We want to see what you see along the way, and we truly are anticipating the completion and the success because we're seeing it right along with you as you're going through this process with us. Okay. And again, this particular form, Jag. Thank you. All right, this particular form again, its purpose is to document milestone progression for the person supported monthly. It's completed by the provider agency, reviewed by the innovation coordinator, and the timeline is completed every 30 days following the milestone tracking start date. Okay, and this is the tool will be also added in the forms when Jay sent them out. That was a boatload of information. Again, my sincerest thanks for this network's patience as a protocol and a process is being etched out and carved out to truly navigate best ways to not remove, to um, allow a person supported to transition through coordinated services intentionally, strategically, engage, build a really comprehensive plan. Um, yeah, just really thanking you guys for that ability and time to be able to craft a protocol that is not error proof, that is not error free, but it will definitely allow us time to be able to have a pilot to, I mean, a protocol to launch, to pilot, and continue to learn and train together on it. Okay, so any questions? Because I'll keep going. Any questions right now? And I know questions will come once you actually see the forms and you review the steps along the way. And I know those are going to come and they are so welcome. But any other thoughts? Okay. On the horizon. All right, this is what I'm really excited about. Is looking to plan a person-supported transition protocol. That is a long way of saying this. Learning collaborative, and this is where our team and your provider agency, we want to engage in a learning collaborative where we take this protocol, we take the referral form, and we will have the samples. And you will be able to, coordinator, our awesome Elizabeth Crockett or Charles Fisher would have the opportunity to send a referral to you guys. We would literally just have time where we set aside, you receive a referral, you receive a PSS, and we go through the time frames. We ask questions, we etch it out, and we truly speak to the protocol off of what you've received on today. So looking to schedule that the second week of November, which is not far away, but I do feel like it is necessary, and I'm so excited about it. I know our team has had an opportunity to meet with various providers at this point, but this is going to be a really great way to come back again around the table as a group to be able to communicate, go through that process, ask questions, and really take a fine tooth look at it, like a really a fine look at it before we receive our first referrals. Okay. And next thing that's on the horizon, another biggie is the milestone tracking protocol. Okay, because as I mentioned, in phase 3, that is where we're starting the milestone tracking. That's where it's dated. But now we're going to have a protocol. We're going to have training. You're going to have a presentation very similar to this one. That's going to allow us to be able to go through the what an annual budget look like. Our response to you regarding how much is remaining in the budget. Things of that nature that really helps both sides, our innovation coordination team, provider agencies know where we are and what those what the budget look like annually for our participants moving through. Okay. And I think the last slide is another thank you. I think that's what the last one is. It's just a thank you. Of course, our contact information, our team will be growing, looking to have another coordinator in Middle Tennessee. When I say Middle Tennessee, middle Tennessee. We're doing interviews now for Nashville, Davidson area. So this slide will look very different, I'm pretty sure, when we present again, but I always like to leave my contact information. If we have not met, it still would be a really great opportunity now. So we can set up time, learn about your team, make that connection on the front end. And again, we have Charles Fisher, he's our innovation coordinator. His email address, as well as Elizabeth Crockett. She's a part of the team as well. And I'm just so excited. They are a part of this amazing program alongside me. So um, that's our team for now. And again, a huge thank you and for your patience, for your commitment to allowing us to be able to develop a protocol that we feel very strongly about, that we cannot do successfully without you. And we are looking forward to having this learning collaborative to work even more closely to iron out, discuss, and just really go through this protocol before we receive our first referrals. In short phases, I'm gonna read the chat real quick. It says in short phases 1 through 3, ICs complete forms and providers review. Then phase 4, providers complete forms, ICs review. You got it. Who is it? Jared Hellman? Absolutely. That's really in short, but that is, you are spot on. Absolutely. Spot on. Any other questions? That's a J question.
Yeah, as of now, the application goes live November 1st. We're timing it to be 7 a.m. That's when the applicants will be able to go to our website. The banner at the top of the DIDD Maps page is the link that they will use to complete the application. The application has been simplified. Brandy, my wife, took it, and it took her all of 2.5 minutes to complete it. So it really is a very simplified version of an application. Once that application is received, it goes directly into our internal SharePoint at DIDD. Dennis, as I mentioned earlier, once it's received, there's automatic messages that are going out to the actual applicant, acknowledging that the application's received, confirming that they're in the geographic location that we're targeting the rollout, and that we're establishing that communication by which that person can go ahead and submit verifying evidence of disability that is needed for eligibility determination. We have a single point that's going to be reviewing every application that comes in. So there is a period of time by which Kathy Brooks is her name. Kathy is going to be evaluating all of those eligibility applications, processing them, and ensuring that our internal SharePoint that we're using for the organization of the applications, as well as our referrals to Charles Lee, is organizing and including all of the necessary information so that Sandra and her team can begin to pick up that referral and begin conducting their assessment. So we know that there's timelines that are associated with every one of these pass offs, from application to eligibility to completion of SharePoints to passing them off to Sandra and her team, so that Sandra and her team can initiate contact with the actual participant, that they can send that initial assessment that's being conducted on the front end by Charles Lee, which is what's used to complete the actual that is going to be used to actually conduct that referral snapshot that the provider organizations are going to receive by way of referral. So Debbie, I know I'm going a long way around to describe actual time frame. I think mid-November is definitely optimistic. I would probably say that organizations, providers may be receiving it towards that second, third week of November, that you guys may receive your first referral. I mean, we're really confident in Libby and Charles and Sandra and her team to be able to conduct those assessments, because that's going to be, that's a process that is somewhat out of our control. We are relying on those persons that have completed the application to submit that initial information to conduct those assessments. So, some of that is a little bit out of our control, but I think you're on target with what we're looking at for DIDD. And Jared, yes, Kathy is solely dedicated to the review of the MAPS applications. Now, the beauty about what Dennis Watson and the intake team have created is really an automated, streamlined process that really has eliminated a lot of the traditional review and correspondence back and forth between the persons that have applied. So we definitely feel extremely fortunate that Kathy, who's got a boatload of experience as a case manager, is on our team to be able to process those applications as they come through. And fortunately, the organization of our SharePoint now includes how everyone, where those applications are being sorted based on geographic location. And if they're in another region, in East or West, for example, they're going to receive an acknowledgement that we've received their application, but we're not processing their eligibility enrollment until such and such state. However, feel free to go ahead and send us proof of diagnosis so that we can go ahead and continue our updating of our SharePoint site so that we have everything located when we do expand to those regions. So that process, we anticipate November and December really helping us iron out if we've got it right. I think we're going to find some tweaks that we can continue to make it a little bit more streamlined and efficient, and maybe verbiage here and there, but really pretty stinking cool what the team has come up with. I'm excited about it. I think it could have some additional applicability in some of the way we continue to do business here at DIDD. Good questions. What else do you guys have? The overarching takeaway from today is Middle Tennessee, we are about up. It is our number that's being called, and we are going to be able to test all of these processes. So fortunately, we get the first crack at this. Unfortunately, we're going to identify on the front end where those cracks are. And so please, the communication amongst Sandra and her team and the provider organization, we're really going to have to be over communicative on the front end to see where we're lacking things. And I want to provide that reassurance to the middle network. We know this. I've been a provider, so we know how that can feel if there are issues that we don't feel 100% confident in. And I can assure you that the collaborative nature that we're approaching with this program and the understanding of the pilot capacity is going to allow us to make those mistakes. We're going to make them, and we're going to learn from them. And that is essentially the way we're going to continue to approach this entire program as we continue to expand out from the entire year. So, at this point, if I was a provider agency, my creative hat would start turning. I can anticipate that I'm going to begin receiving referrals. Well, are we sure on the provider side that we're ready to acknowledge those referrals, coordinate those assessments that we need to do, be able to communicate back to Charles Lee that they're willing to accept it, and then be ready to hit the ground with, this is the curriculum that we know of. How can we go ahead and get ourselves in a place to be efficient with that curriculum? I know the review of these tools are going to be important. I will do my very best to get them out to you guys ASAP so you guys can start reviewing them. I would also encourage you guys, especially those providers in middle, coordinate an opportunity to continue to ask questions with Sandra and her team. I know that they want to see this work, so if there are things that you identify collectively, I'm certain they would be happy to be able to provide answers to those questions. With that, if there's no other questions, we'll give everyone else back their Friday. I hope everyone else has a happy Halloween. I will be attending the central office this afternoon, and I guarantee you guys will be able to guess what I'll be dressed as. But I'm not going to say it. Anyways, guys, have a great weekend. We'll talk to y'all later, okay? Bye.